Today on Sports Idiot Nation, we have to check in with T.I. because all of his teams mysteriously won. It's an idiot miracle. Many wild endings to make fun of in the NFL, and we have to discuss all of the wild upsets in college football as well, and why normally it wouldn't matter. Also, does anyone know if the NBA Cup is even over yet?
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
Now, to be fair, I would have overlooked Auburn too.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in, all you sinners. Sports Idiot Nation coming at you for November 25th. It is Monday. We are happy to be here. I am joined by Miles behind enemy lines, as always, Mr. T.I. as well. We'll get into why T.I. is such, just in the most fantastic mood ever created. But let's get into the wild NFL. I don't even know where to start. We were in the group chat. Miles and I were talking about how crazy the 1 p.m. Eastern games ended up being, as we were kind of looking as most of them would be laughers, and absolutely not the case. Yes, a couple of them were when you have Baker versus DeVito. I think we know how that's going to go, but overall, man, which yeah, let's get into that first. Speaking of Baker, Baker gonna Baker, right? He's gonna mock
Dude.
especially if you're gonna mock, make it be. I was gonna say, I was thinking of a star on the Giants, and I'm like, wait a minute, they don't have any. But make it something that not the backup quarterback who is just their hometown hero and that's it. It's not
He's
even
a
worth
placeholder.
mocking.
Baker's funny, man. Remember him in college when he went and planted the flag, dead center,
Yeah,
you know?
and then Bosa
boom,
sacked him
you know?
on Monday Night Football, and they crushed him, and he did the same thing because Bosa, Ohio State guy. That's so hilarious.
Yeah, I like Baker, man. I'm always rooting for that dude the way Cleveland did him dirty. I don't care if I don't care if the dude never wins another game. I'll always be rooting for him just for the fact that, how do you do that to the dude? You draft him number one, and then you just we're gonna sign the massage king here, and we're gonna trade the house for him. And then, boy, look how that worked out. That's just karma right there. If you don't believe in karma, just look at the Cleveland Browns.
I'm T.O. right now. That's my quarterback because I had Tua as my quarterback in fantasy, and he hasn't played half the year. He was excellent yesterday. We'll get into that, but Baker was my throwaway last pick in my draft basically, and all he does is lead the league in touchdown passes. Okay,
yeah, I have him in the league as well.
Duty, double dip because I also have Mike Evans. He's been hurt, but he showed up yesterday again. But so it kind of saved my season.
Since Brock Purdy, everyone wants a quarterback as their Mr. Irrelevant, and you got yours in Baker Mayfield.
I have in one league that I've been in with some guys for about 5 or 6 years. I have Josh Allen, and then I have Jordan Love. But I always like to have in this league, there's just a lot more roster spots. And so I always will pick up a third quarterback just because I like that flexibility. In the first 2 weeks when Baker was just destroying, and I was like, I'm just going to pick up Baker. And I have started Baker more weeks than I have Love or, Josh Allen, which is funny.
Oh, Baker over Love 1,000,000,000%. 1,000,000,000%.
So, although he didn't get the job done today for me because yesterday, because Saquon Barkley decided to just show his, reverse hurdle ass. But,
Which, be sure to follow Sports 8 Nation wherever you get your social media, because we posted earlier in the week that Madden, which we'll probably talk about more on Thursday as it's Thanksgiving, and John Madden has his name all over the Thanksgiving games for sure. But in Madden, you have to do it just right. I will sheepishly admit that I watched this YouTube tutorial on how to do the reverse. And it's like you have to be coming at the right angle, and the defender has to be coming at the right angle, and you have to time it right. But you can do the reverse hurdle.
Why did they put that in there? It's not like he's going to be just breaking that play out every game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like a Mortal Kombat finishing move or something.
It's
like,
not a Hadouken. No one can do it.
NFL
just him.
Blitz move, man. I did that thing with Steady Freddy all the time in NFL Blitz '98.
So crazy.
So silly. I mean, that's kudos to Madden and EA Sports for not missing the opportunity there to
the game
to cash in on a moment. But I mean, if that's the case, then they're going to have to be, throwing the Odell Beckham one-handed catch in there. They need to be doing all that stuff if they're going to throw that reverse hurdle, because we're likely never going to see that ever again from anyone. So, but hey,
yeah,
I'm not going to knock any kind of video game move. Good move on their behalf,
So crazy. What I want to do is check in with, if you have followed Sports Idiot Nation from the beginning, you know that in our first couple episodes, as the NFL started to take shape, we grabbed a hold of some teams that we thought we would kind of track their progress. Not that we're legit fans of them, because we are diehard to our own teams, and we'll get into that later. But I have kind of been checking on the Commanders, and if I can catch those games, I definitely watch them. If it's at a time where my Niners are not playing, T.I. was kind of rolling with the Bucks. Is that right?
Yeah, I Bucks, and I had an honorable mention for this. Had an honorable mention for the Saints, but that was just more of like
dishonorable,
which is crazy to think, because they were undefeated at the time, and like they haven't won since.
Kiss of death.
But so all right,
discharge.
So here's what I want to check in with is the Vikings, because the Vikings are this weird dynamic where Miles I will admit, I remember he kind of wanted to pick Washington, but I had taken it. So he was like, well, by default, I'll definitely take Minnesota, which ended up being the better pick. As they have not lost since, I don't think they've lost since you picked them as the team that you're kind of checking out. So they played the Bears, and I just think like the Bears find new ways to get their fans like kind of hopeful, and like
they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. That's what they do every week.
They find new ways to do it. I mean, they played kind of well enough to win. Obviously, they forced overtime, and then I'm texting in the group, what is Caleb Williams doing? There's no rush. He has all this time to try and make a play, and he gets sacked. Like, where it's now they have to punt. They give the ball to Minnesota, and we know what happens. They end up losing because Minnesota then kicks a 1-inch field goal, after they just march the ball down. Like, Chicago, what are you doing? I just don't understand. Like, yes, Caleb Williams broke the rookie record for most yards thrown by a Bear, but like, okay, the bar was not high.
All three of us could have did that. I mean, let's be real. I mean, as Adam or Miles won last week was saying, like their literal Super Bowl team was manned by sexy Rexy Grossman. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Jim McMahon, Rex Grossman. I mean, those are the two greatest Bears quarterbacks ever lived.
Mike Tomczak, Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, come on,
Cade McCown.
That is a very low. It's a very low bar. Very low bar. Jay Cutler. Yeah. I mean, I forget about old Cutlets. Like, I can't knock him. Dude had an arm, but he just had
He was probably the best in the last decade.
I mean, yeah, for sure. He just had a problem. Getting along. He had a problem getting along with people.
No, statistically speaking, Jay Cutler's the best Bears quarterback in the Super Bowl era.
Which is
awful.
Crazy.
He threw 5
picks against the 49ers.
There's a YouTube video. I'm sure it's still rolling out there, but there used to be a YouTube video, and it was every one of his interceptions against the Packers. It was a hilarious YouTube video.
Probably like a 25-minute video.
Because some of them were just like, bro, like, why were you throwing that? I mean, it was just, some of them were just great.
Hey, I just got an update on my phone that Saquon Barkley just ran for an additional 100-yard gain in one play. So he's still going.
God.
255 yards
He did
wasn't enough.
He did
ESPN's giving me all these updates.
Yeah, he did a reverse hurdle, and then a forward hurdle, and then another reverse hurdle on the same
and
play.
A somersault.
Yeah,
we'll get into that.
Springboarded off somebody's helmet.
Yeah, I was just giving a special shout out to Saquon because good Lord.
He's the reason why I lost my fantasy game. Thanks, Saquon. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah. So the Vikings, are they the? Because I don't want to be caught in the moment. I appreciate PTI for all these years because the old men that Wilbon and Kornheiser are, they've been around, and so they hate when people are just like in the moment. Oh, this is the best, or the best 9-2 team ever. Or this is the most not talked about team ever, or whatever. But I will say, with the Lions, with the Chiefs, like the Bills probably get more love than the Vikings. Are the Minnesota Vikings for real with that record? And are they the most not talked about 2-loss team coming into Thanksgiving in the history of the NFL, Miles?
So the one I would argue was talked about basically the same was 2017. That team called the Minnesota Vikings because that was the year the Eagles were completely dominant. So all the attention was on the Eagles, similar to the Lions this season. So that's the comparison I have. It's the Minnesota Vikings with the Minnesota Vikings. And then that NFC Championship game, they got absolutely steamrolled. 22 till 8. Yes, 7:38. 38-7. The Eagles just ran over, boat race, dog walked.
Yeah.
Put their fist up the you-know-what of the Vikings in the NFC Championship game with the backup quarterback. So
was that
I think
Case Keenum? Who was that? Was that Case Keenum?
No, that was Nick Foles. Dude, the Philly special. With
No. I'm talking about the Vikings quarterback.
Oh, the Vikings, because Case Keenum was on the Eagles.
Yeah.
And, at one point, gosh, yeah, you know what? That might have been Case
I
Keenum
think
in 2017.
Remember Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
With the miracle in Minneapolis the round before against the Saints. So that was basically the highlight there for Minnesota was, well, yeah, the fact that it took a last-second touchdown at home to beat the Saints. They have no chance against Philly, which they didn't. But that would be my one comparison. But to your point, Adam, yeah, no one's paying attention to Minnesota because we all know they are not going to win the NFC Championship. If they get there, maybe it'll be between them and Philly, ironically, to get there to lose to Detroit. But this is Detroit's year. I'm going to go ahead and crown them. I think that's not going out on a limb or anything like that. I think most folks agree that Detroit is just that much better than everyone else in the conference.
Go ahead and crown the asses. So crown asses. Yeah, my thing is I'm kind of with Miles there. If Detroit wasn't putting up 50 points a game, maybe people give them a little more credit, but I mean, the problem is they're finding a way to win. They're just not controlling the wins. They're not dominating. They're just finding a way to win. I mean, no matter whatever would happen against that Titans game for like whatever, but without the calls, without taking the touchdown away, without turnover on downs in the fourth down, without overruling that, they probably don't win that game. The Titans probably win that game. And if the Titans beat them, everybody would probably be like, yeah, well, we knew the Vikings are who we thought they were, So right now they're still in the conversation, but they just don't have a signature win. What is the Vikings' signature win? Like, they don't have one. Their signature win is that Sam Darnold is showing that he is at least at the very best a game managing quarterback that is not
run the offense. Yeah,
it's not a throwaway as we all thought he was. We thought he was just absolute bust. I mean, right now he's proven he's not necessarily a bust, but he's not necessarily the all pro QB that maybe like some Vikings fans think he is.
And shout out to UTI. I just confirmed that NFC Championship game, Case Keenum was the quarterback.
Oh yeah,
boom!
Good shot there, boy.
Case Keenum. Look at that, guys.
their signature win, I'll tell you, Ti, was a healthy 49ers way back when. That seems like it was 9 months ago.
Yeah, but let's be real. No offense to your Niners. I mean, we know they're injured, but even though they're healthy, let's say we have a fully healthy Niners, that looks like there's something else. They're having some other issues going on. Like they just look a little discombobulated week in and week out, whether they're healthy or not. So maybe the Niners are just not as on their game as much this year. So how do we know that was really a signature win? You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I mean, beating the hell out of Houston. Oh, wait, no. That team sucks.
Yeah.
Which, yes,
not Houston Oilers.
They did win. The Vikings winning at Lambeau is a good win.
Yeah.
You win in Lambeau against the 8-3 Green Bay team. That's a decent win. But beat the Lions, and then we'll talk.
But they didn't face Malik Willis though. They faced Jordan Love. They didn't face the dominant force, which is Malik Willis.
Play a real quarterback.
Hey, right now, currently, he's the only starting quarterback in the NFL that's undefeated. So, shout out to Malik.
God, I love him on the Titans.
Malik, if you're watching this episode, which you're probably not, but if you are, I hope you still got the sunglasses I gave you at training camp, buddy. Hope you do.
We'll inbox you.
I got to give a shout out to him, dude. He kept them on, man. He just kept them on the whole time. He was out there signing autographs to kids wearing the shades. I was like, that's my man. He didn't take them off, after the photo op.
He didn't want no shades.
Yeah, I mean, even Cody Rhodes took him off after the photo op. I mean, but Malik Willis did not.
So let's roll to the team that I'd been kind of following because this is hilarious what happened. And so it's the Washington Commanders, and they have kind of taken almost a straight nosedive. They could very well be 6 and they could have 6 losses because that Bears debacle where they actually won, but they could have lost. Mm-hmm. So now, because they lost to the Cowboys, I want to break this down, though, how it happened, because this was the most bizarre. So, first of all, I'll say this. Dallas scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. 24 points in the fourth quarter, and Washington
the most scored in like the last 17. 3 games.
So, if you had the under going into the fourth quarter, you probably were like sitting good. And I don't want to call that a bad beat necessarily, but like you kind of got crushed by the fourth quarter. And so what's crazy is Dallas somehow wins by a margin of 8 points. Like if you were to just see that, you're like, okay, they kind of had it in the bag. But just ridiculous how I don't even know where to start. So we were texting back and forth like, oh my gosh, this happened. Oh my gosh, this happened. But they return a kick when it forces them to play defense in a 1-score game. Like, this is stuff that high school and college players should know at all times, that if you're in a situation where you get a turnover or in special teams, you have a chance to run it back. But scoring keeps you at a 1-possession game, and it's the fourth quarter with the clock under what would we say, a minute, in this game.
There was only like 20. There's 21 seconds left, but this happened back in COVID year. Todd Gurley did that. I forget if it was with the Rams and the Falcons, but the Rams were playing the Falcons. I forget which team he was on at that time, but it happened in that game. So he did it, and it gave the Rams a chance to go down and score, and they did. They tied it and won it overtime. And the funny thing was, the day before was the start to the Big Ten season, IU Penn State. Penn State was up by 1. All they had to do was run out the clock. The guy got to the 1-yard line and fell into the end zone. They could have, if he had gone down, they could have just kneeled it out and 1 by 1. Instead, they go up by 8. Michael Penix takes us down the field, touchdown, tie it, goes to overtime. Of course, that miraculous reach out, and IU wins it. So, luckily for Cowboys, Cowboys fan base, 21 seconds left, so there wasn't time to go down the field.
How they even got that is even crazy. So remember this. So in the fourth quarter, the Commanders need a touchdown to tie it, and they're on the 20. And so you talk about the prevent of prevent, and they give up a touchdown to Scary Terry to tie the game. And then Washington misses the PAT.
So, after he just made a 51-yarder. He just made a 51-yarder to keep them alive. They're down 10, had to make a 51-yarder with 4 or 5 minutes to go. Seifert drills it, but he can't make a damn extra point.
Crazy.
Like, what is happening? Like, so now the Commanders do all this, and Dallas is looked at as like the idiot for letting them tie it. Oh, by the way, they don't tie it because they missed the extra points. But then,
and then give them another chance.
Kickoff, they still have a chance because Dallas doesn't go down. They score. Like, what are we doing? This is the weirdest, 4 minutes ending of a game?
I mean, let's be real. It's comical and it's hilarious, but we're all sad about it because we never want to see the Cowboys win. So,
Well,
but I mean, it amazes me though. Just you see these kickers. You see, God, I mean, Thursday night, was it Thursday that dude? I don't know. Somebody hit a 64-yard. Oh yeah, that's right. No. It was whenever the last Cowboys game. I think somebody hit a 64-yarder, and then it was a penalty, right? And so they waved it off, and then they get a first down. They go down, and they end up getting no points from the whole thing.
Right. They missed it.
It's just amazing to me. It's like, Aubrey hit a 64-yard field goal, and it's just like, well, and then you see these cats like miss just eat an extra point and stuff. Just makes you wonder what's going on in their heads. I mean, old Care Bear, the Titans, the Titans-Texans game. I mean, that dude's usually automatic from anywhere. And I mean, he missed about a 30-yard chip shot,
That was another wild one. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
As real quick before we do, side note, my watch went off again. Saquon, another run. He's at 400 yards rushing.
This is just adding insult to injury. Adam, please, man, just stop. I really needed that win in that league
had
too.
A day last night.
Shout out to my boy Alex for beating me in fantasy football. You earned it, my friend. Even though I've won the championship about like 4 of the last 6 years, kudos to you. But we all know who the true GOAT is in the Sports Rants and Braves debate league. But moving on. I'm not bitter.
So the Texans, I definitely had winning that game in my office pool, and that game was back and forth. I'll let T.I. you kind of take it away, the storyline, like as you saw it, and just the craziness of it. Like
storyline.
Again, we texted. Did you have safety for the win on your bingo card?
I mean, I actually predicted a very reasonable, which I thought was a pretty accurate score. I predicted the final score to be 69-3 Titans. It was not 69-3, but I did get the win part right. But all joking aside, for those of you that actually tuned into my episode of Titans Elite Nation this week, if you did not tune in, or last week,
shame
rather,
on you.
Week, I haven't recorded this week's episode yet. We usually don't record until later on today, or sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday. It's just depending on what's going on. But I predicted everything that happened in that game. I said should happen, and hopefully will happen. I said the Texans have been slumping. I said, yes, they beat the Cowboys. They beat Cooper Rush, but all 3 of us on this panel could beat Cooper Rush. And I said, CJ Stroud, sure, he's putting up numbers. He's putting up equal amount of yards as last year, but I said he is making bad decisions. He's throwing the ball away. He's throwing picks. He's having turnovers. And I said, there's no reason why in the world we can't win this game because of the way they've been playing. And sure enough, everything that I predicted in that episode happened. So kudos to me. And I also said that he was Josh Freeman 2.0, and that is looking way more to be coming to fruition. But the game itself, I mean, what I will say is my favorite moment of the game was when Billy Jeans threw the pick 6, and every single Titans fan on planet Earth was like, yep, there it is. We knew it. All right, total debacle, blah, blah, blah. And he steps right back in. It hits Chig on a perfect placed ball, and Chig immediately takes a 90-degree angle and takes it to the house. And to me, that says a lot about where he's at maturity-wise, because the Billy Jeans from week 1 or 2 would have just came in and thrown another pick 6. Instead, that was the deciding moment. So that was his 17th game as a starter, official 17th game as a starter. He's had a lot of games where he's been playing kind of injured or coming off injury. So, we still don't really know what we got there. It's a second round project. A lot of people try to compare him to Stroud and, Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson because they were in that draft. But it's like all three of those guys went in the top 4. This dude was literally a second round pick. Probably would have maybe lasted to late in the second if the Titans didn't trade up and get him, because at that moment they were really one of the only teams that needed a quarterback. So he's still a project, but what I will say is that he's put 3 games together right now that really have had upper management now have to question what they're doing with the draft. I don't think they go quarterback now. I really think they see, and outside of Cam Ward, who in this draft is really worth a gamble. It's not Sanders. You don't want that circus. You don't want the circus coming to town. I think Sanders in the right situation may succeed, but it's not going to be here in Nashville. And I think the
reality is once Victoria F got out of the picture, he started playing better.
And to me, the Jags are clearly the worst team in football. I think that they have Travis Hunter written all over them. Their quarterback situation is take it or leave it. Trevor Lawrence, like they've signed him to a long-term deal. He's going to be there for a few years.
They could Daniel Jones him. They could.
They could, but I just don't see it. And $22 million to not play. All these Titans fans are like, "Well, we want Travis Hunter." It's like, I want Travis Hunter too. I do, but unless you have the number 1 pick in the draft, you're not getting Travis Hunter because he's clearly the top player in this draft. So with that being said, like the game itself didn't surprise me. The fact that Titans won. What surprised me the most was the fact that Care Bear missed that field goal and gave us the opportunity. If we go to overtime, we lose that game. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And so, CJ Stroud, they have some issues on the line, the left side of the line. Jeffrey Simmons is a man amongst children. I call him Baby Thanos for a reason. He just took over in the end. And my favorite part though is when he sacked. Well, he contributed to the sack. He snagged his ankle and made CJ Stroud fall right there on the 1 on the 3rd down, I think. I guess it was the 2nd down. I don't know what it was, but my favorite part is when CJ Stroud clearly is on the ground and he gets up and start trying to run like he acted like it was all him or something, and I'm just like, what is going through your head at that point, bro? Like you clearly are down, and he gets up almost like, oh, maybe nobody saw me, takes off running. I just, and they kept showing him on the sidelines, and he just looks so sad. And I was just like, you know what? I'm enjoying every bit of this. He just looked like. I kind of posted. It kind of looked like he kind of looked like that one aunt that always shows up at Thanksgiving, that always brings her roommate to Thanksgiving. He just had that look on him, like he brings the fire potato salad to the picnic, but it's like, he's not getting it done today on the field. So, it was a great day as a Titans fan. Fantastic day. Love the fact I called the victory. Love the fact that I painted the picture of how it would go in my episode, and love the fact that my social media has been exploding ever since. I had, not bragging, but I had close to 2,000 notifications in an hour. Shout out to all of you out there who I have not replied to or acknowledged your comment or whatever it may be, your negative thing. I don't have a team. It's just me. I've said it before. I am the only admin. So I can't respond to 2,000 things in an hour. Okay. I have a child, I have a wife. I got things I have to do. I had to go to the grocery store, get some groceries so I could get on this podcast and record with these dudes. Okay. So.
Yeah. We thank you for your service.
Tighten the up. I would have cussed, but I don't want us to get banned from YouTube. We're just now starting to get some traction there. So, but let's let Miles get Miles all decked out. Look at what Miles is wearing. Let's let Miles talk about how he felt about the win.
Support. I feel good. And now it's like I don't have to focus on this misery anymore. Can put it over and put the pressure on the Preds to keep playing well. Big win over the Jets this last weekend, and then the Grizz, who are kind of lagging in the NBA Cup, but they're still hanging around. They're still hanging around in the real standings that matter. But I guess I we'll enjoy it because my Hoosiers went down, but still in the playoff hunt because we got the help we needed. And
That's right.
I guess whatever the
You're
hell's going
welcome.
on with the NBA Cup, I am enjoying the Magic doing well, and your Knicks are doing well. And then Adam, your Mavs team is in contention, but the Warriors, your true team, are kicking ass. So it's good times right now. It's good times across the board.
Let's get into the NBA Cup. I was joking right before the show. I thought it was going to be like over soon. Guys, we have like another month practically of this thing. December 17th is the final game for the Cup. I truly did not know that. And so, Miles, you pointed out it's like every 3 days or so is when they like participate in it and the groupings and all that.
Well, every 3
It's
games,
just,
so it's like once a week, basically.
yeah.
They're
3
playing
games.
an NBA Cup game, stretching it out.
So, also, there was more champagne. The 72 Dolphins were able to drink their champagne because Cleveland finally lost. So,
That's right.
so
Dude,
Cleveland lost to
terrible
Boston.
team. Terrible
Man.
team. I mean, you know.
And when we
They
talked
like
about
followed
this,
up the next game. They followed up by like scoring another 140 points and beating like whoever they played by like 28. You know,
right. Because
ridiculous.
we talked about this in our group chat. Miles, you said like Boston hit like 25 3-pointers and Cleveland only lost by 3. Like that is kind of a telltale sign that
Cleveland's
you're
good.
legit.
They're good.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're pretty
They're
good
good.
when you lose by freaking 3 points. And
On the road.
And also, I watched that game, and in the second half, there was so many layups and so many like open threes, or when the Spurs are known for this, the Warriors. When you see good ball movement and they make the extra pass and like the whole team gets up and goes like this and like, oh, they wide open 3 and they miss. It's like, oh, come on, basketball gods, make that go in. Like that, you did the right thing. There was multiple of those, all of that, and free throws missed, and they lost by only 3. Like Cleveland might be here to stay in the standings here, which I mean, I guess I'm okay with it. The teams that I like to follow are mostly in the West, but it's definitely cool to see. I just have no idea what's going on with the NBA Cup. Just randomly, I turn on TNT and the floor is like all navy blue. I'm like, oh, I guess this is the NBA Cup now.
Yeah.
Ron,
Those floors are crazy. It makes me feel like I'm playing NBA Live or something.
But some cool storylines. I mean, can we talk about Connect 4 a little bit? Since you guys are from Tennessee, even though I know Tennessee basketball isn't like a thing, but
he's a baller, man.
The Lakers are a little bit less hate-worthy with him out there, but I'm so glad he got the number.
I like Westside Connect better than a Connect 4, but hey, that's
Connect
just
4.
me, you know.
I like them both.
But, I mentioned about, though, in the Grizz game, the Grizz were dominating them. The dude comes off the bench, which is still, to me, I ended up saying a couple weeks prior, I was like, JJ needs to be playing him more. I don't know why he's not. Maybe it's just that he's making him earn his stripes, but dude, he just comes in and just sinks 5 threes like it was nothing. And next thing you know, it's a 2-point game, and they Lakers end up winning. You know,
yeah,
it's just he's good.
It would have
man.
been a lot cooler had he not spurred IU to go to Tennessee, but I'll forget him because Tennessee was the better team that year.
So let's talk a little IU. We put it off as long as we could because I'm sure you had a little hurt feelings because it just did not go your way, Miles. But let's talk all things college football. Remember to follow Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media. New episodes of the podcast, the Sincast, come out every Monday and Thursday. We're going to talk a little college football now because here's what's weird that we talked about in the group chat. If this was still basically a 4-team race, Miles, you mentioned it would be what, Notre Dame and give us the 5. What was it?
Well, and here's the whole thing, because obviously with the chaos that we'll get into here in a second, a lot of teams got knocked out because of it, and IU still has life despite laying an egg in the shoe yesterday. But that chaos wouldn't have mattered had it been last season with a 14 playoff, because Oregon had a bye. They're still undefeated. Texas, no problem with Kentucky at home. Ohio State took care of business at home against IU. They're still number 2, Texas 3. Penn State survived, but they'd still be where they are because you still beat a 7-win team in conference on the road, and then Notre Dame beat the holy hell out of Army. Worst loss for the Army since Nam. And the fact that it would now come down to a debate between Penn State and Notre Dame, that's what we'd be talking about. But no one cares about that because that's not what it's about right now.
Man.
It's about who are the 4 buys, who are the last teams getting in right now, going into the final week. Do any of these 3 lost teams have a prayer? I think they have a prayer. They have to have a lot go their way. But right now it's, pretty straightforward that IU and SMU are the last 2 at-large teams, so to speak, and then suddenly Arizona State is magically in the playoff because the Big 12 is who we thought they were, and they suck.
Do they have Jake Plummer again? Do they have Jake Plummer?
He's back. It's their best day since he was there back in '98 when they got defaced by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. But in any case, the fact that Arizona State went from since the start of the season when Arizona State barely won at Texas State by 3, a game I watched because it was like Thursday night on week 1. It was the only thing that was on, and then followed up with losing to Texas Tech, who's like 6-5 right now. They looked absolutely abysmal, and suddenly they're the favorite to win the Big 12, and Iowa State's back in it now. It's a total mess, but one of those teams are going to sneak into the playoff just because auto bid. But we'll see if there's more chaos this last week. If a team like Vandy decides to pull off another upset, then suddenly Tennessee's in jeopardy. We'll see what Georgia does in the SEC championship. If they get embarrassed, which I doubt they will because they'll either play Texas or Texas A&M. But if they do, suddenly they have 3 losses, and then things get a little bit hairy. But we'll see then if
Ole Miss
Clemson can
screwed
jump
themselves.
up. What Miami, and Bama obviously as well, and Texas A&M.
Speaking of Vandy,
War Damn Eagle.
Jackalope made a Vandy Pale Ale, Conquer and Prevail, and I found it in my local gas station and tried it out. It's pretty good, I have to say. Pretty good beer.
It tastes like Bama Tears. I think it tastes like
yeah,
Bama
it
Tears.
does. It does taste like Alabama Tears. It's beautiful. But no, Jackalope is one of my favorite local breweries, and I always support them when I can and try to support all local stuff. So I was like, hey, why not try it out? And I am impressed. It's pretty good.
Shout out to Bama for scoring only 3 more points than the 3 of us.
Dude.
So nice job,
A
Bama.
point for each of us.
Yeah, we all represent 1 point for Bama.
1 pointers, yeah.
Nah,
Free
I'll
throws.
let one of you guys have 2. I can't represent anything for Bama.
Fair. So speaking of going for 2, that is what Auburn had to do a few times. Let's get into the overtime rules. That game, we're all 3 of us watching it separately and texting each other like, "What's going on? Wait, what's the? Oh my God, the band is on the field!" Like type of thing. I mean, that game was crazy, dude.
I thought it was going to go to midnight. I thought it was going to continue the next day. I thought we were going to see like 6 overtimes, like that one game many years ago. I think it was it Ole Miss that had a 6 overtime game. Ole Miss LSU. I think
A&M.
Basketball.
It was,
I'm thinking
no, it was
Syracuse
LSU
basketball.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
It was 7.
That's it.
7 overtime.
Ooh,
And then
yeah,
the
that's
record, but the record's Penn State, Illinois, that went to 9 overtimes because of the 2-point shooter.
9 times. That's like Ferris Bueller. 9 times. How many absences? 9.
That game was
what a
crazy,
wild game. Well, I mean, Auburn starts off 21-0 first of all, and everybody's like, "Who's this team?"
And then they do Auburn things.
Peyton Thorne is who we thought he was because he is. That's why he's transferred from Michigan State. I mean, if you can't cut it at Michigan State, what in the world are you doing at Auburn? But anyway, my brother and I were texting. We were on the group chat. My buddy Shane's texting me, and he's like, "Man, your boys better pull this out, man. If they pull this out, I win $1,400." And he did. He texted me this morning and was like, "Tell him thank you," But he did. He won $1,400 from that parlay he had. But what a game! Only Auburn's second SEC victory of the year. It's a little. It's a more of a more recognizable win than against Kentucky, but
Open my Hoosiers, baby. I appreciate your service.
That's right.
Doing your part for the bandwagon.
if you would have told me that
help out Miles' team, I appreciate that.
UCLA would have more conference wins than Auburn. I don't know.
Well,
for
Auburn
sure if I would've-
Auburn was really bad last year too. Like they've really been from the Hartson, the Brian whatever Hartson deal, like that whole thing. That was a bad hire. I still think they fired Gus prematurely. I don't like how they did that. I think like Gus Malzahn deserved a little more time there to kind of flip things. I'll tell you what, if you had Gus Malzahn with these 4 freshman stud wide receivers they had, and he was able to, now with the transfer portal, and he was able to pick and choose his quarterback. I mean, you're talking about a dude who went to the national championship, basically converting a defensive back / wide receiver to quarterback. I mean, Gus Malzahn can eye talent. He's great OC, great offensive mind. Maybe he's not head coach material, but it is what it is, But so they're still picking up the pieces from that. I think that I'm fine with where they're at now. They just need a quarterback. And as we were joking in the group chat, they need to learn how to tackle. If they could learn how to tackle, which is a intricate piece of playing football, is tackling. If you don't tackle, you probably won't win games. So yeah, they need to get that under control. But they're not a terrible team by any means. They had Oklahoma beat. They just gave it away. There's a couple teams that they had on the ropes a little bit, and they just gave it away because they lack that ability to close out games because they just don't have the personnel to do it. We saw Oklahoma dominated Alabama, and they should have beat Oklahoma. I mean, they had them, So they're not a terrible team by any means. They're not the Tennessees or the Georgias or the Ole Misses or the LSUs or the any other team in the SEC. But hey, they're one of them.
They did have some idiot situations definitely in that game, and what's that?
Mayday! Cover your brains, boys and girls. Put on your tinfoil hats because this is Idiot of the Week.
Cover you idiots and sinners, because this is Idiot of the Week. And coming right out of the Texas A&M Auburn game, we got head coach Mike Elko, who said, no, we are not looking ahead. We are solely focused on Texas. I mean Auburn. And it showed. They go out and you let up 21 points off the bat. Even when you come back, you're going to be in a fight then. When you start off 3 touchdowns down on the road, and T.I., you had your moment. You had your entire damn weekend. You are the man. You are not the Idiot of the Week. Mike Elko, and really, for that matter, all of Texas A&M, you are the Idiot of the Week.
Absolutely. I mean, you literally dropped a wide open. I mean, you're just like, hey, here I am, want it? Hey, I'll take it. Oh, whoopsie. I forgot to put butter all over my hands and just dropped the ball, I mean, it doesn't.
I love that tweet. I love that tweet from Auburn after, and like, Mike, you get your wish now. Go enjoy Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't say stuff like that in the SEC, You might can say that and get some other conferences, but you can't say that in the SEC. Because when it all boils down to it, you're still, whether you're the bottom of the pack in the SEC or the top, you're still elite players, elite football players from top high schools across the country, mostly the South, obviously in the SEC, but still. You can't say stuff like that and expect it not to backfire.
Yeah. Speaking of saying and picking, we'll leave you guys with this. Pick your Harbaugh for this evening. It is the Harbaugh Bowl, and I will start with I have love for Jim, and John beat us in the Super Bowl, so screw him. And Jim coached my team, and we were pretty darn good. And I think he's better for the sound bites. I think he's more solid. So I will go with the Chargers tonight. Miles, who you got?
I got to go with James as well, because speaking on behalf of T.I., screw the Ratbirds.
Yeah. I can't root for the Ratbirds. I can't root for the Ratbirds. Typically, I would say I would want them to win because I do have Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews on my fantasy team with my buddies from high school and college, but my opponent my man, the Messiah, shout out to the Mile High Messiah. It's not his week. He had 5 players on bye, and he only put up 59 points, and I've already won. So as far as I'm concerned, the Ratbirds can lose by 100, baby.
Yeah, well, we will see tonight. It actually should be a good game. I am actually excited. The past few Monday night games I haven't been like overly excited, but I'm definitely down to watch this one. So be sure to check out social media as we have the dumbest post you will find this side of the Mississippi.
Always.
Follow us wherever you get your social media, Sports Idiot Nation. And we will be hanging out with you guys this Thursday as it is Thanksgiving. We come to you every Thursday as well. So we're excited to talk all things turducken on Thursday. So we will see you then.
I want to say one thing before we leave. Tighten the hell up, baby. Take that, not Houston Oilers. You. All right? And one more time. You.
This is
All
Sports Idiot Nation. We'll see you Thursday. Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.